In this video, I'm going to share with you how to set up a virtual summit the right way from the beginning so that you can maximize the potential for revenue that you bring to your business, maximize how many potential people you can use to grow or use, maximize the number of people that you can bring to your email list. And what you want to make sure is you're getting the right high quality people, especially if you're an agency, coach, consultant, service provider. You don't want to just get everybody to sign up. You want the right people to sign up, and you want to work with the right people as potential speakers on your virtual summit. So I'm going to share all that with you. So as a little bit of a little quick thing you could do is you could go down below and in the comment section, just type in workbook, and I'll send you our Grow Marketing Workbook, which I'm actually going to work through here together on this video. And I would recommend getting this, printing it out if you're interested in potentially hosting a virtual summit. It talks a little bit about the model that we're using. It asks you a lot of questions to help frame your summit the right way to make sure that you have the right audience that you're bringing on board. So let's go ahead and get into that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So this is the Grow Marketing Workbook, which again, just type in workbook in the comments down below, and either myself or somebody on my team will get you a copy of that workbook. And so basically, we've got our Grow Marketing system that helps you generate leads, relate authentically, offer value, and win clients and customers using virtual summits, email marketing, and webinars. And all through that, we're bringing people onto our email list, and we're offering value. We're demonstrating authority. You're becoming a go-to expert in your niche, and you'll make offers and get people to sign up on, whether your sales page, your calendar, whatever mechanism you use to get people to sign up for your offers, you'll be able to do that. So, this does work. I've got case studies, which you can read about if you get into it, but this is a case study, not $93,000 in sales, but $93,000 in MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. So that's about $1.1 million annualized. And that's actually what we could track, because in that particular funnel, people are coming in all kinds of different ways. And if you warm people up the right way by getting this summit set up, which I believe the summit is the foundation for all of this, and make that a little bigger. The summit is the foundation for all of this. So if you get people to sign up for the summit and they're excited, and they want to continue to learn from you, and you're offering them value over time, sometimes they just wake up one day and are like, you know what, I want to work with that particular person. And they don't click on the tracking links and go to the specific calendars that you want to. Maybe they just end up on your contact page, or they reply to one of your random emails, but not the email that, was about what you're trying to track. So that's all okay. So that means numbers like this are oftentimes actually conservative, because there's more people that sign up because of the funnel. They just don't go through that funnel. So hopefully that made sense. So again, I like to say this is for agencies, coaches, consultants, online service providers, but really anyone who wants to demonstrate expertise and authority to get people onto your list. So it's all about making sure you understand why you're doing this. So there's a few questions I would suggest you ask yourself. So, how are leads finding you now? So the nice part is that if you have something that's successful, running a virtual summit is only going to help you. It's only going to get people even more warmed up and more, for lack of a better phrase, indoctrinated in your ways of doing things than if they didn't. Or if you didn't run a virtual summit, because people get very excited about it. In fact, sometimes if you have people on your list and you run a virtual summit, even the people that didn't sign up on your list, they tend to think more highly of you, because they see, oh, you're aligned with these other speakers. You're bringing all these people together. Oh, the goodwill, because you're putting this on. They know it's a lot of work. They know you're doing this to help support, whatever niche community you're in. So that can be very beneficial. Even the people that don't sign up, and then the people that sign up and get value, they're really more excited about you. So your stock rises in their eyes. Now, if you don't already have, a reliable, consistent way to bring in leads, maybe you're, hoping and praying for more referrals, you're posting on LinkedIn, and, it's the same 4 people that are liking your stuff, and, they're maybe your friends, or they're not necessarily your, potential clients, that's okay, because this is a great way to find those people. Or if you're running paid ads can be very inconsistent and very expensive. Now, a virtual summit, you can actually bring people in and get paid for it. So this is a great thing to do. And then you want to ask yourself too, where do potential clients tend to drop off or lose interest before taking the next step? And oftentimes that is because they don't know, like, and trust you. So think through, how are they coming in now, and think of a virtual summit as a way to kind of plug that hole, so to speak, to get them closer to crossing that barrier of the trust line, so to speak. All right. So then, there's a few other things you can think about, which I would recommend downloading this workbook and going through it more comprehensively than what we will do here right now. But there's a few other things you can think about. So, I think the next thing to really think through is, who is your ideal client profile? And I talk to people that have a variety of different businesses. Some people are agency owners and they have a specific audience, whether it be they're serving dentists, or they're a consultant for companies installing a certain type of technology, or they're a coach, helping people, with, their health, or, they are, a service provider for Amazon sellers. Whatever it is you do, who are you trying to attract? And then ask yourself, what problems do they want solved? What have they already tried? Because you want to differentiate your summit as being a way to get them closer to what they want to get to. So it's ultimately, if you think about it, the virtual summit is almost kind of like an electric drill. If you've been in the marketing space, you probably heard this analogy. People don't want an electric drill, they want a hole. So you're selling them the mechanism to get the hole in the wall, that drill that they can drill in. So, what have they already tried? They're trying a saw and they realize, oh, saw is not the right tool to make a hole. I need a drill because the drill. Or are there certain bits that they have to put on the drill? And so think through it from that lens. Who is it you're trying to attract? What have they tried before? What are their pain points? And what are you trying to, help them solve? And then, what are they actively searching for right now? So what are they going out and, looking for? And then fill in this, when you think about, like, who is that audience? What are their pain points? What do they want? What are their desired results? And then the question to ask yourself is, where do they hang out? If everybody in your niche audience is hanging out on LinkedIn, finding a bunch of Instagram influencers is probably not getting you the right audience. You ultimately want kind of the intersection of what you want, your audience wants, and what speakers want, which we'll talk a little bit more about that. But you want to figure out, where are they hanging out? Because there's influencers in whatever area they hang out. Now, I will say they tend to hang out in email. So there's usually people who have email lists, which you may not think of that as a place to hang out. But, if you somehow found out about my world through my email list or somebody else's email list, that email list is one way to think through it. Now, it's not as public. Sometimes it's harder to find people's email lists, but just keep that in mind. So who already has your audience's attention? So in those niche places they're hanging out online, who has their attention? And then who would make great speakers or partners? So one of the things to think about is, when you're reaching out to potential speakers, who would you like to work with? Who's aligned with you? It doesn't have to be perfectly aligned, that they believe all the same things you do. A little bit of conflict, even amongst speakers, where this person says, you only do A, B, and C, and then someone else says, no, you only do X, Y, and Z, and there's conflict between the two. People actually like that, because they like hearing different perspectives. So you bringing those to your summit is actually a good thing. As long as it's not like one person says, hey, this is a summit all about, how to market a SaaS company. And you've got this person who says, here's all these strategies for marketing SaaS companies. And someone else is saying, hey, you know what? Forget SaaS, invest in real estate. That would be the wrong thing. You want to keep things aligned to, what it is you're doing. And then who has complementary services to what you're offering, even if they're a competitor. So one example is, I've done a lot of summits in the Amazon niche, and I might bring on, let's say I have a summit about pay-per-click advertising on Amazon. It's a very niche audience, but there are people who are influencers and experts and thought leaders in that space. And so I would want to not just have people talking about PPC, but here's the thing: when you have paid traffic, you need to convert on your page that paid traffic. So what I would do is then figure out, like, okay, I've got paid traffic, and this paid traffic needs to convert, but who's going to help them convert? So maybe there's some conversion rate optimization, listing optimization. These are like Amazon technical terms, but that's in that space. They're complementary. And the people who are interested in listing optimization are also people interested in PPC, pay-per-click advertising on Amazon. So they have similar audiences that complement each other, that would both be attracted to attend the summit, but also would benefit the audience by having people speak on both topics. So you want to think of it that way. And I generally like to think of it as, when you have a summit, you want to have about 15 to 20 speakers. And, especially when you first start out, you're probably not going to be all that well known to people in your niche. Now, maybe you already have some people in your warm audience. That's great. But if you don't have a track record of doing summits in a similar niche, sometimes it's harder to get people to say yes. So I like to say, as a rule of thumb, you want to have about 15 to 20 speakers to have a good summit. And that might require inviting 40, 50 people. Some people are going to say no. Some people are going to ignore you. Some people just need a nudge to say yes or no, and that's okay. And then some people are just going to say, this isn't going to work for me at this time, thank you. And those people sometimes make great speakers in the future. They were at least nice enough to respond to you and say, hey, I can't do it now. So don't worry too much about, like, oh my God, if I need 15 to 20 speakers, I'm just going to go all in on these 15 to 20 people. You know what? If you end up with 24 speakers, it's not the end of the world. This is not hard, fast numbers. This is more of a roundabout number. And so also, don't freak out if people aren't responding right away. Not everybody responds within 6 hours or 10 minutes or whatever we'd like it to be. So just know that that's okay. So then you want to write out, like, who are some of the people in your audience? What is their audience type? Why would they be a fit? And then maybe reach out and find their contact information. You could ask places like ChatGPT and things of that nature to help you find those people. And so we haven't even reached out to anyone. We're just trying to get a sense of, is there an audience out there that's interested in whatever this topic is? What do they want to know about? And then we want to figure out, what is our summit? So you want to figure out, what is the name of your summit? So, like, for example, PPC Mastery Summit. That is a summit that is 100% dedicated to pay-per-click advertising. It's pretty obvious in the name. Although sometimes I think some people get confused that maybe it's about Google advertising, which also uses the term PPC. But because I bring on so many PPC experts from the Amazon world, it's not a problem. So people get it because I'm bringing the right people in, so that, like, it clicks that what I'm talking about. You want to make it memorable and benefit driven. So benefit driven would be like, you're mastering PPC. You don't want to just call it the PPC Summit. I like to call it PPC Mastery Summit, something that's like descriptive, like more like your benefit of attending is you're going to have better paid ads, which implies more sales and lower costs, because that's the thing that people want. So if you can get them more of what they want and less of what they don't want with your summit, it's going to be a win-win for everybody. And then focus on the transformation or the result. So, mastering PPC, it doesn't have to be, make 7 figures in the next 30 days summit. Like, they might not even believe it. So it has to be short, but also memorable. But also, you want it to be clear more so than you want it to be clever. So don't worry so much about, like, rhyming or something like that. Like, just when they look at it, can they see, like, oh, that's something I'd be interested in, like, very quickly. And then maybe come up with a few names. So then that's the basic gist of the summit. So if you do that correctly, you've got your summit pretty much like the basics of it, dialed in. So with that, from there, people get on your list, because if you found the right people and the right speakers, you start reaching out to them. Hey, this is the summit I want. Now, one little tip I would recommend is you use your friendly ChatGPT and have it do a deep research and have it do IP for whatever that summit is, and look to see if the whatever that summit is, that name is available. So if the name of the summit isn't available without the word summit, try it with the word summit. If neither of them are available, I probably wouldn't touch that, because somebody might already have that IP, and you don't want to necessarily infringe upon that. But ChatGPT, or Gemini or whatever you use, if you use the deep research function, it'll usually come up with something pretty good. So again, this is just a little taste of what is in the Grow Marketing Workbook, which will help you bring it all together so that you can run a virtual summit, and set it up in a way that it's not just a one-time deal, but that it is part of a marketing flywheel, which I call the Grow Marketing System, which helps you generate leads with summits, relate authentically because people are on your email list, and you have webinars that are ongoing that offer value, and that you can win clients and customers from your email list, and actually from the whole system itself, because the whole time you can be sending people to your offers, your calendar page, your sales page, whatever mechanism you use to get people to take the next leap. And the nice thing is you can rinse and repeat. You can do virtual summits ongoing, maybe quarterly, or twice a year, 2-3 times a year, whatever makes sense to you. So you can get that influx of leads, and as opposed to paid ads, which you got to pay for. Here in the summit, you're making some money along the way. So with that, if you want to learn more about how you can set up the summit with the right funnel, click here, and we'll actually show you how to set up the funnel in this video.